everybody, how are you all? Hope you're all well. So I'm going to be talking today about the monologue that I posted last week in my Love and Loss series. So I decided to do that monologue because it was a speech that I'd recently done for an audition, and I thought actually this does fit in with our Love and Loss series. It's just a slightly different type of love. It's not romantic love, but it's love of a sister. And so I thought I would talk about that today. So I really enjoy that monologue. I was speaking to a friend about it and she said, oh yeah, I love that one as well. I've done it for a few auditions. So I think it's a great speech. I think, yeah, I love to see, this woman really standing up for herself and really, really saying to Antipholus, like, sort yourself out. I think it's really brilliant. And I think it's really interesting to see a Shakespeare speech, with this sister really standing, she's standing up for her sister and protecting her sister. And very interesting, really. So the context of the speech is that Antipholus, or who she believes to be Antipholus, so her sister Adriana's sister Adriana's husband, has sort of made a move on Luciana. And obviously she's disgusted by this. She's shocked, she's appalled, and her advice to him is if you are going to cheat on my sister, at least do it quietly. Don't make it so obvious that you're doing it, which is quite interesting, really, because she's not saying to him, don't do it, just stop doing it completely. She's saying, cover it up. I mean, for God's sake, cover it up. Don't let her see. She loves you. She cares about you. It would break her heart if she found out. Don't let her find out. Don't be so cruel. So she said it's cruel enough that you're cheating on her, and it's doubly cruel to let her see what you're doing, to let her find out or know what you're doing. And it turns out that the Antipholus that she is speaking to is in fact his twin brother. So he is just making a move on her because he fancies her. He's not actually the husband of her sister. But she doesn't know that at the time. So it's very, very interesting speech. It's a really great play and it's very, very funny. The comedy of errors is really brilliant. I must watch actually the DVD with Judi Dench. I'm going to give that a watch soon because that looks absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting speech. For me, part of the preparation for that speech obviously is learning it. Part of the preparation for that is putting it into my own words. So I just do the speech without the actual text and I say it all in my own words and then I go back to the text. So I do something similar with songs, actually. I speak songs rather than sing them, and then it puts the intention into the words, and it's a similar thing when you are saying it in your own words, so you get the feeling and intention behind it with the Shakespearean language and text. So I like to put that in my own words before performing it or before auditioning with it. Sort of run through it and think, okay, what would I say? Or like when I'm preparing at home or something, So yeah, I put it in my own words. I think of either emotional recalls or remembering a time when I've perhaps felt like that, or I just think of a person in mind that I would be defending, and with this speech I would be thinking of my sister, and I would be thinking of how I would feel in this situation as a sister, as an older sister. Well, I don't know if it's any different as a younger sister, I don't know. I assume not, but an extra protective layer perhaps as an older sister, and how I would feel if I discovered this, or if a partner of my sister did the same thing, and then I sort of use that to fuel my fuel me for the speech. So there's a few things that I use which I think a lot of people do. There's a technique actually which I didn't use for this speech, but I think I got taught it quite a few years ago, that people use for what do people use it for? or they use it for public speaking, which I think is quite interesting. And I think this is quite a good little tip for if you're perhaps nervous in an audition, or you have to do a bit of public speaking. You perhaps don't want to do it for a speech because you don't want to be doing this the whole way through the speech, but you could do it the moment before. So I'm not sure what it's called, but basically, so you put your two fingers like that together, or say you could do that, something like that. You need to connect some part of your hand with another part of your hand. You do that, and let's say you want to think about a time. Let's use the Luciana example. You want to think about a time when you felt really protective of your sibling. So you put your fingers together, and you really, really think about that time. You think about all the memories surrounding it, how you specifically felt, and you do that for a little while, and then you take your hand apart. And then when you come to do the speech, or just before, you can pop your fingers together just for a moment, and it usually will bring all those feelings back to you just before you're doing the speech. Now, a way to use this before auditions to feel more confident or calmer or something like that is you could put your fingers together and think of a time when you felt very calm, or you felt really confident in yourself, or really self-assured, and you could use that to then bring you back to that place before you go into an audition room or into an interview situation or something like that. You could use that technique again. I just had a thought about this and I've forgotten what it was. So you could use that technique again. Oh, do you know what would be really useful? If you meditate, it might be really useful to put your fingers together when you meditate, and then you could come back to that place of calm and focus and calm, and you could come back to that place, and that might be really, really useful actually, as a kind of technique for feeling calm and focused and confident, particularly if you have to do a bit of an interview in an audition as well, or for an interview in general. You may feel a little bit nervy, a little bit frantic. You could do it before you go into the room. I think that could be a really good way of helping you to feel a bit calmer, because you could do it as well as some deep breathing. You could do some 7-11 breathing, which is where you breathe in for 7 counts and you breathe out for 11 counts. So you could do that as well while you've got your fingers together, and that could be a really good way to keep you nice and calm and focused and confident. So that's a little tip from me on audition interview technique. I think that could be really, really helpful. I've used that for I can't remember when I've used that. I think I've used that for interviews before. It could be a really good way, I think, to either bring you back to that feeling, if you wanted to connect to that feeling quite quickly, because usually you go into an audition, it's like, hi, a couple of questions, but okay, great, do your speech. So you don't get very long to prepare, so you could sort of quietly just pop your hand down like that, couldn't you? Or, like I said, for the interview bit, you could, before you go in, hand down. So that could be really, really useful. In terms of my Luciana speech, it's absolutely covered in notes and translations. So if there's any words on that text that I don't know, that I don't understand, I look them all up. So I underline them and I look them all up. And I do that in every speech. Any word I'm not sure about, I underline it, I look it up, I find out what it means. Obviously, I read the play for every speech. You need to read the play, you need to understand the background. It's very important. So you read the play, you do your research on the character. You can also write down anything that is said about that character, or that the character says about themselves, any descriptions of themselves, any descriptions from other people. That can help you to form a full character. What else do I do? There will be, I sometimes count out the syllables in Shakespeare speeches in particular, because you should have 10 in one line, and if it's more irregular or less regular, it can mean certain things. I think for a lot of the female characters, they're less regular, which is probably a deliberate on Shakespeare's part. I think it's about us being irrational and stuff. I think Somebody mentioned that to me once. Or it can be related to their emotional state. So if they're very calm and considered, they're like to be a bit more regular. Whereas if the syllables are sort of more frantic, or you've got like 12 in one place, or 16 in one place, or 8 in another, then it's likely to relate to their emotional state at the time of the speech. So that's something else I think about too. I always think about, I don't want to get too much in the rhythm of the speech because you want it to sound natural, but you also want to pay attention to the, can't even think of the word now. You do want to pay attention to the syllables. You do want to pay attention to the meter of the speech. So kind of a combination of both. But I do think it's really important when doing a Shakespeare speech in particular that people know what you're talking about. That's really important. You don't want people like listening to it or thinking, I have no idea what's going on here. I may as well be watching another language. You don't want that. You want people to understand and connect to it, because Shakespeare's themes that he explores are still the universal themes. They're still things that we can connect to today, a lot of them anyway. So you want people to definitely understand the speech. The next speech I'm going to be doing is one of Beatrice's speeches from Much Ado About Nothing. So we're going to connect that a bit to the love and loss as well. She's very much an independent woman, isn't she, at the beginning of that play? So we're going to look at kind of another side of love and loss, the independent sort of single person. So we're going to look at that, and then I will do another vlog around that speech as well. So I hope you're all well. If there are any speeches you would like me to do, or any speeches you'd like me to discuss, perhaps there's a speech that you're working on that you're struggling with a bit, let me know. You can always send it to me, or you can always tell me what speech it is, and I will try and help you out with it, and I'll do a little video about it. But yeah, let me know what speeches you'd like to see me do, and let me know what ones you'd like to see me discuss. And also any topics in general that you want me to talk about, do contact me. You can comment underneath the videos, or you can tweet me, or put my videos up on LinkedIn as well, Facebook, etc., etc. Do let me know, and I will add that to list, and I will talk about those things. So I hope you're well. We're on Friday now. Have a lovely weekend, and speak to you soon.